Okay, it's Toby from Heavyweight MMA today with Jacinta Austin talking about her MMA fight coming up. How are you?
Hey, I'm well, thanks. Thanks for having me on.
Jacinta, I think firstly, just have a little chat about your MMA journey. I see you've had a few interviews. I don't want to bore you too much, but just a bit of an overview. I know that you said that you followed a friend when you started martial arts, right? That was the start?
Yeah, that was the start. I had a friend fighting, not in mixed martial arts, just in kickboxing.
Yep.
And I was a bit kind of lost and bored at the time, so went along to try it out, and here we are, 9 years later.
What was the initial feeling for you? Was it like quite a few martial artists I talked to, like they kick off and they're just obsessed suddenly and they don't stop, you know?
Yeah. Well, for actually the first period I didn't join in. It was quite a confronting environment, just a room full of males punching and kicking each other. I was kind of the only girl there as well. So I just watched for a while and bit by bit kind of made my way in once a week, or then that turned into 2 times a week, 3 times a week. Started really enjoying it. And just the coach said to me, like, I'd love to put you in a fight. Let's train 4 days a week and see how we go. So yeah, upped it to 4, which by that point I thought, I'm a full-time athlete now, 4 days a week.
Yeah.
I had my first fight about 9 months in.
What code was that one?
First fight was K1.
K1. Awesome.
Yeah.
What makes you fight? I just like to ask people, like, what inside you makes you feel like you want to fight? Like, what do you get out of it?
Back then, was like the challenge of it, confronting a couple of demons and getting some confidence and just having a goal in life, I guess. But now it's all goal driven. It's I feel like I've been at this for so long now that I really want to make something of it. So I'm in too deep. I've got to see it all the way through.
That's it. Before you started up, did you have any history and any fights or anything like that, or you just started out when you started training?
Nah, as a meek little mouse. No street fights, no confrontations, nothing. Would have shot myself if I had to have a street fight. So nothing. I was very, very anti-confrontational.
So you'd say that the main thing is that you're a sports person in your sort of school life, and you found that martial arts was a good challenge for you, right?
Yeah, always loved sport. Was always quite athletic. Never really did too much outside of school. Just did all my sports in school, but always loved it, and always I was fairly decent at most things I tried. Always hoped I would end up doing something related to sport. Always wanted to do karate as a kid, but mum and dad weren't too keen on that. So it's kind of cool that I ended up doing something in combat anyway. That's
it, man. So what was your journey from K1 or probably kickboxing training through to MMA? Like, how did you get there?
So I did probably 21 K1 and Muay Thai fights before I was over in New Zealand competing in the K1 tournament, and one of the girls it was under not Waco. It was under maybe it was Waco. Anyway, they had a joint tournament on, so MMA on one end of the hall, and the other end of the hall was K1. And one of the girls in the MMA had pulled out, so the other girl had no one to fight. So they asked me, who had just competed in K1, to jump in the MMA. And I kind of thought it would be, piece of cake. I'd just strike her and be fine. So that was like the first time I'd been taken down, and first time I'd actually wrestled with someone. Pretty much was in the cage. And I lost that fight on a decision. But I was like, I need to get a piece of this. I need to get some more of this.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? Like I'm a striker from when I was young, like kickboxing and whatnot. And I just remember someone, like, I was just shaping up to one of the guys in the gym because it was a grappling gym, and he just boom, just takes me down. I'm like, what the hell just happened?
With ease.
Yeah, and you just realize right there, like, fuck, I need to at least at a minimum be able to defend this, to be able to be a complete sort of fighter and not to be worried about someone just taking you down, right?
Yeah, it's very interesting as well. Adds a whole new element to the way you strike as well.
Yeah, I see, like, in your fights, you are like you like to stand up, right? Like, the stand-up part seems kind of secondary to the clinching and ground fighting. Was that correct? Or you feel like you're trying to chase that now? Like, what's your feeling about fighting?
I love clenching. Like I did a lot of clenching in Muay Thai as well. Love like scoring from the clench with the elbows and knees too. But yeah, I'm fairly confident in my jiu-jitsu now. I just got my purple belt at the end of last year. So yeah, I'm pretty confident to mix it up in all areas now. I feel like if I can put some damage on the feet as well, it will make the takedown easier for me. And once I get on top, I feel that I'm very strong on top. So for a while, it's been having to bridge that gap between standing and getting on top. I'm good once I'm on top, but I've been really working on bridging that gap. And yeah, I think I've improved a lot in the past, maybe like 6 months in that department.
Nice. I'm a purple belt too, but I'm kind of like a hobbyist purple belt. You're probably like a fighting purple belt. It might be a slightly different level. What was I going to say? Yeah, I saw your clinch against, was it Delista? You had a nice clinch in the start of that. You were clinching and landing some really nice knees in that fight, right?
Yeah, I do end up there in every fight. Once that distance, like, because it always eventually closes. So yeah, we always get there eventually. So yeah, try to put on as much damage on in those interactions as I can.
How did you feel after that fight? I think was that the fight you were saying that you were motivated by the loss? I think that was your last loss, right, Delista?
Delista was my last loss. Yeah.
Was that the one you were saying in one of the interviews that you were motivated by the loss, or was that another one?
Yeah, because I felt like before the Delista fight, everything was right there. Like everything that I'd been working for was right there.
Yeah.
And then, with that loss, even if I didn't lose it all, it felt really like I did lose it all.
Yeah.
So yeah, at that point, you got to question like if you're going to get back on the horse and see it through, or So I was really motivated to get back on top, because for a while after that loss, I kind of thought that was maybe my ceiling. But then realized like I can do better than this, and one mistake isn't really I'm not gonna throw it all away over one mistake.
Yeah, and you've had a win since then, and now you're looking at a big fight, which can catapult you to a nice title back in Australia. So it's a good fight, right? Fighting Amena Hadaya for the flyweight title, Eternal 84, on May 24th in Queensland. So it's a good one for you, right?
Fighting here in Sydney.
Oh, I thought it was Sydney. It said Queensland or something I was looking at. All right, Sydney. All right.
Yeah, here in Sydney. Yeah, my backyard.
That's good. Two girls from New South Wales fighting in Sydney. That's cool. Easy.
Yeah, big crowd.
Yeah, because you mentioned about traveling and whatnot before. It's nice just to have it close. Are you based around that? Where are you based? I saw your gym's at Hornsby.
Yeah,
right?
I'm in Sydney. Yeah, so the venue's probably about half an hour away.
Awesome. What venue is it?
It's called Liberty Hall.
Liberty Hall. Was that where the last fight was when there was a UFC in Sydney? There was a show there? I think it was.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, the night before was at Liberty Hall, yeah.
I went to that one. If it's the same thing, it's around the showground area or something, wasn't it?
I haven't been there. It's Moore Park, but apparently it's the venue kind of looks down on the cage.
To be honest, it's a super strange venue. Like I think it's probably better for TV than it is to go as someone watching, because it's tiny. Like the cage sits in a small room, and then there's also a layer above, but it's a very strange venue. Like you can't fit many people.
Most of the tickets are like standing tickets, so it was only a few seating. So I haven't been there, but that's what I've heard. Yeah.
Super strange, intimate. Like it's like it's like a little set that they would use a movie for or something. It's not a big venue, but yeah, it's pretty intense. Yeah. So how do you feel?
It's going to be weird then, fighting from like in Germany in front of like 10,000 people to Liberty Hall is going to be interesting then.
I think they'd be lucky to fit like 1,000 in. I don't think they'll be even fit 1,000. I think it's smaller than that. Yeah, from my memory. Yeah, it's a small one. How do you feel about fighting Amena? Obviously, she's from a good gym, freestyle MMA. Both of you are good stand-up technicians and work in your overall game as well.
Yeah. I'm excited. I think it's an exciting matchup because we've both got that like aggressive striking style.
Yep.
And having trained in the past together a few times as well, we kind of, not recently, but we do know bits about each other and how we move. So yeah, I think it's going to be a very entertaining fight. It's definitely going to have a lot of striking in it, that's for sure. But over 5 rounds, like we'll definitely hit the ground at some point.
And did you say you're stepping up a weight division for this fight?
Yeah, so normally fight at 52, and this will be at 50. I think 57 is the cutoff.
Or do you see that as a benefit for Amena, or it won't make much difference to you?
Um, well, like obviously she's going to be a little bit bigger and physically stronger than girls that I have fought. But I have trained with her, so I do know that she's not crazy big.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of rounds with her, so I know she's not a very big flyweight. I know she's quite a small flyweight. She always weighs in well under the limit as well, and I'm quite a big strawweight, so I'm not too concerned about size difference against her. Maybe against another flyweight, like when I fought at flyweight a couple of years ago against another Australian girl, there was a big size difference. I just couldn't put on any more weight, and she was very big, but I know Amena's not very big, so I'm not too concerned about that.
Yep. When you used to work with Amena, did you spar with MMA gloves, or you sparred with like bigger gloves?
We've done both. So she came to my gym to do boxing rounds with me when I was preparing for my boxing fight. And then I went to her gym and we sparred MMA gloves when she was getting ready for her MMA fight.
Yeah, and how confident do you feel after those sort of times that you trained together to be fighting her?
I am trying very hard not to base anything off those sessions because they were so long ago.
Yeah.
And we were like she wasn't even pro yet. Yeah. And I'd had maybe 3 pro fights at that point.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think she's going to be entirely different now. I'm also entirely different. But back then, I do feel like there was a very big skill gap. I do feel like I got the better of every moment of every round. But, yeah, like I said, like 2 years is a long time, and she's got a team and she's training with professional males all the time. So guaranteed she's a lot better now. And, try not to really base anything on the rounds we've had before.
Yeah, true. But obviously, great gym, freestyle MMA down in Windang, New South Wales. Talk about your gym. So your gym, is it Gym Carioti? I don't know how to say that word. Gym
Carioti MMA. We're in Hornsby, so we're like pretty much the other end of the state.
Yep.
Yeah. So my gym's probably like a newer gym, more up and coming. It's a very young gym. It's just starting to really like spread its wings and develop now. And we've just recently built a team of, I feel like the team has mostly been built around my career. So it so happens that most of the team are smaller males, which is perfect for me. A lot of flyweights and bantamweights. But yeah, we're just a smaller gym at the moment, but you're starting to hear a lot more about them locally. And I think having this Eternal belt's going to do a lot for my gym as well. I've got a very, very unique coach, and I think that the way that we are taught in detail and with such discipline towards everything being 100% correct, I think you're going to start seeing maybe a lot more fighters come out of our gym as well.
Yep. I think, did I hear you mention something about training in Switzerland or somewhere else? Was that you?
Sweden.
Sweden, sorry. Yeah. How was that? What was that?
Yeah, so after my first fight in Germany, I went to Sweden to fight to spar with Josephine, who I had fought previously because she was getting ready for Contender Series. And I came out of that fight with a first round finish and not a mark on me. So I went straight to Sweden after that to do, did like 10 days there of sparring with Josephine.
Yep.
That was really cool. We were at All Star Center, which is a massive gym with like so many athletes there. I got to watch Hamzat train every day.
Oh, right.
My coach came with me, and I guess it doesn't really matter where you go. There is still always somewhat a shortage of other girls your size to work with. Me and Josephine just had it out, banged it out for a while, and it was awesome experience.
Speaking about finding people your size, have you tried any of the Asian countries for training? Because obviously you'd find more lightweights in those countries.
Yeah, so I trained in Japan for a bit as well. I trained with Kana, who was the K1 world champ there.
Yeah.
That was really good. They're really small.
Yeah.
Like when I went to Japan, I also fought in Japan. I was like a giant to those girls. Like they're all fighting at like 47 kilos, 48 kilos. But now I've got quite a a range of people to train with, smaller boys. Like they are stronger, they are a bit bigger, but I don't have a problem with that. Every now and again, I'll spar another girl just to because girls do move differently. And a lot of the stuff you try on males, you just can't pull it off. Like, doesn't matter how technical you are, they're just like that bit stronger. Yep. So then when you have that occasional spar with a female, you realize, okay, like I can pull off this move, or I can, chain my wrestling together a lot better, things like that. So training with girls is good every now and again to test the waters and like get confidence up a bit as well. But yeah, the hard work with the boys is, it's excellent.
And speaking about working, like what's your sort of week? Like what's a normal week for you? Example, like now leading up to a fight, how do you break up your training between different disciplines or different areas of focus?
Yeah, now we're in the last 2 weeks. I'm doing a lot more like MMA work and a lot more MMA sparring. But majority of the camps and majority of my time I do break things up individually. And I'll do boxing with boxers and kickboxers and no-gi with just jiu-jitsu practitioners. So I do break it up, and then in the last 2 weeks, just go full MMA and make sure I'm in like the right mindset for MMA. But we do about 5 to 6 hours a day. Break that up over morning and evening, sometimes a midday technical. Try and really have like those hard push days, 3 days a week, probably max out, and the rest, just operate kind of like a mid-level, or today's a low level. Like today I'll only hit light pads and that's it, because tomorrow we've got like a fight simulator. And a lot of just listening to the body as well. Like sometimes I'll feel really good and I'll do even more sessions, but then 2 days later I'm like, I'm a bit tired to do all those sessions today. So just listening to the body a bit too.
Yeah, I think that's the maturity, right? Because you can just keep pushing, but it's detrimental to your training. Like you have to be able to recover to it a certain extent. How do you actually recover? Like what things do you do?
Well, I think like I've done strength and conditioning for so many years that I stopped actually doing strength and conditioning program, but you learn a lot about different activation and prep work. So every day I try to do like a lot of band work and stuff like that. I started using saunas in the like cutting weight stage, but now I realized that the saunas are great when you're not cutting weight. Great for recovery.
Yeah.
So a lot of that. Honestly, I could probably do a lot more recovery than I do, and I probably should. But yeah, I love to swim as well. Do a lot of swimming. Nice. Pretty standard stuff.
What about importance of sleep and eating? Like you focused on that much?
Definitely make sure I'm sleeping like at least 8 hours a night.
Yep.
It's hard sometimes, but and diet, like this time I'm probably, because I'm not doing any weight cut, I'm not losing any weight, I'm actually trying to hold some weight. I'm probably eating double the calories that I normally would. So full of energy. The whole camp is very different too.
Feeling charged.
Yeah. Feel like I've got some like extra juice in the tank.
Nice. Mental preparation, not being essentially someone who goes out and picks fights. Do you need to do anything special to be ready for a confronting sort of thing like fighting in a cage?
Unfortunately, I've noticed over the past like year or two that because you get anxious for the fight and you're nervous and you're putting yourself in a mindset to fight, I've found that over like in the last couple of weeks of prep, I start to like, I start to unintentionally pick fights with people just because you're preparing in your mind to fight someone, you're uptight, you're anxious. Like I'm a bit confrontational personality-wise. I'm a bit prickly. So I've been working on that a lot. Because you're like, I don't know if other fighters do it, but I have a lot of like violent thoughts before I fight. I dream about it all the time. So sometimes my personality can come off a bit brash. Yeah. So I've been working on that. I've been working on trying not to like pick so many fights with people around me.
That's interesting. That's a psychology, how you work yourself into it, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, that's kind of part of it. And I'm at the point now where the people around me are kind of like, they understand if I'm being a bit I don't know, confrontational, but I've also been working on just not being a bit of a prick to people for no reason.
When you say picking fights, you just mean picking like arguments or actually picking physical fights?
No, never physical fights, just arguments. Yeah, I tend to be a bit of a, I don't know, like a smart ass or say things that aren't warranted, or because you're preparing for this battle, you're preparing to hurt someone. So I don't know. I don't know if other people do it, but it's something I've had to work on so that, I at least still have one friend left at the end of the day.
That'll be a good thing to do, yeah. Hey, I feel like people can learn from MMA fighters because there's such a grind. Like you have to grind every day. Like, how do you motivate yourself? Like, what tips could you give someone for motivation, like to get up and do something?
I don't know. At the moment, a big part of my motivation is like my team and my coach. Like I know they have put so much work into. I'm not just a part of another fight team. Like the coach and the gym has really like fully surrounded the program around me, surrounded the members around me. Like it's all been set up for me to succeed. So I really feel like I owe it back to them to really, not skip my training, not take a day off if there's not a good reason. There's just been a lot invested into me from a lot of close people around me, and I really want to make that worthwhile, and I want to help the gym develop and grow. And got a lot of teens and younger people at the gym. I want to create a place for them that they can do the same thing if they choose to. I'm just mostly motivated by the close people around.
Nice, perfect. So fighting Amena Hadaya for the flyweight title, Eternal 84, May 24th in Sydney. What's the prediction for the fight?
I really hope it doesn't go 5. Hey, I really, if it goes the way I think it will go, which I won't say in detail, but if it goes the way I think it will go, I envision myself finishing it in the 3rd round.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, I can tend to be somewhat of a slow starter. And by that, I mean, I don't mean that I don't get to work. I mean, it takes me about, I'd say at least 3 minutes to get my timing and distance right. And then once I've got it, I'm good.
And what can we expect to see from Jacinta Austin over this year and then further?
So this year, my goal is to win this fight impressively. And then should all go to plan, my goal is to be on the Contender Series later this year. In the meantime, if it comes up that I defend the title or fight for even the strawweight title, so I have 2 titles, you never know. But that's the goal by the end of this year, is to have fought and won on the Contender and be signed to the UFC.
Perfect. All right, Jacinta, thanks for your time. Look forward to your fight with Amena. May you both have a great fight, and looking forward to seeing your success in the future as well. Hope all your goals go to plan.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Nice. Thank you.